she reads.
You should over there.
Then you don't have to read it.
You should over there.
I could stand on my head and go. Got a cut in my hand. Pull your hair back a little bit. You got the camera.
That's loaded.
That's your school iPad. Please turn it off because we don't have any. These are iPads. We don't have any. We don't need the iPads on.
You have to be quiet. That's why I need to do that.
You're going to have to do some iPad. Yeah.
Approach, or am I not allowed to ask? I say, likable. He has a says, hey, Mitch. Whereas when you open your mouth, hostile. I do not, I say, please. I don't know where you pulled that cheery, wavy girl on the chariot from, but I haven't seen her before or since, says Hey Mitch. And you've given me so many reasons to be cheery, I counter, but you don't have to please me. I'm not going to sponsor you. So pretend I'm the audience, says Hey Mitch. Delight me. Fine, I snarl. Hey Mitch takes the role of the interviewer, and I try to answer his questions in a winning fashion, but I can't. I'm too angry with Hey Mitch for what he said, and that I even have to answer the questions. All I can think is how unjust the whole thing is, the hungriness. Why am I hopping around like some trained dog trying to please people I hate? The longer the interview goes on, the more my fury seems to rise to the surface until I'm literally spitting out answers at him. All right, enough, he says. We've got to find another angle. Not only are you hostile, I don't know anything about you. I've asked you 50 questions and still have no sense of your life, your family, what you care about. They want to know about you, Katniss, but I don't want to know them too. But I don't want to know them too. You can't have the things that mattered to me in the past, I say. Then lie. Make something up, says Hey Mitch. I'm not good at lying, I say. Well, you better learn fast. You've got about as much charm as a dead slug, says Hey Mitch. Ouch, that hurts. Even Hey Mitch must know he's too harsh because his voice softens. Here's an idea. Try acting humble. Humble, I echo. That you can't believe a little girl from District 12 has done this well. The whole thing's been more than you ever could have dreamed of. Talk about Cinna's clothes, how nice the people are, how the city amazes you. If you won't talk about yourself, at least compliment the audience. Just keep turning it back around, all right? Gush. The next hours are agonizing. At once, it's clear I cannot gush. We try me playing cocky, but I just don't have the arrogance. Apparently, I'm too vulnerable for ferocity. I'm not witty, funny, sexy, or mysterious. By the end of the session, I am no one at all. Hey Mitch started drinking somewhere around witty, and a nasty edge has crept into his voice. I give up, sweetheart. Just answer the questions and try not to let the audience see how openly you despise them. I have dinner that night in my room, ordering an outrageous number of delicacies, eating myself sick, and then taking out my anger at Hamish, at the Hunger Games, at every living being in the Capitol by smashing dishes around my room. When the girl with the red hair comes in to turn down my bed, her eyes widen at the mess. Just leave it, I yell at her. Just leave it alone. I hate her too, with her knowing, reproachful eyes that call me a coward, a monster, a puppet of the Capitol, both now and then. For her, justice must finally be happening, or at least my death will help pay for the life of the boy in the woods. But instead of fleeing the room, the girl closes the door behind her and goes to the bathroom. She comes back with a damp cloth and wipes my face gently, then cleans the blood from a broken plate off my hands. Why is she doing this? Why am I letting her? I should have tried to save you, I whisper. She shakes her head. Does this mean we were right to stand by, that she has forgiven me? No, it was wrong, I say. She taps her lips with her fingers, then points to my chest. I think she means I would have just ended up in AVOX too. Probably would have, and AVOX are dead. I spend the next, when all the garbage has been dropped down to disposal and the food cleaned away, she turns down my bed. I crawl in between the sheets like a 5-year-old and let her tuck me in. Then she goes, I want her to stay until I fall asleep, to be there when I wake up. I want the protection of this girl, even though she never had mine. In the morning, it's not the girl, but my prep team who are hanging over me. My lessons with Effie and Hamish are over. This day, hope. Maybe he can make me look so wonderful, no one will care what comes out of my mouth. The team works with me until late afternoon, turning my skin to glowing satin, stenciling patterns on my arm, painting flame designs on my 20 perfect nails. Then Vienna goes to work on my hair, weaving strands of red into a pattern that begins at my left ear, wraps around my head, then falls in one braid down my right shoulder. They erase my face with a layer of pale makeup and draw my features back out. Huge dark eyes, full red lips, lashes that throw off bits of light when I blink. Finally, they cover my entire body in powder that makes me shimmer in gold dust. Then Senna enters with what I assume is my dress. I can't really see it because it's covered. Close your eyes, he orders. I can feel the silk inside as they slip it down over my body, bend the weight. It must be 40 pounds. I clutch Octavia's hand as I blindly step into my shoes, glad to find they are at least 2 inches lower than the pair Effie had me press in. There's some adjusting, fidgeting, then silence. Can I open my eyes, I ask? Yes, says Senna. Open them. The creature standing before me in the full-length mirror has come from another world where skin shimmers and eyes flash. Apparently, they make their clothes from jewels because my dress is entirely covered in reflective precious gems, red and yellow and white with bits of blue that accent the tips of the flame designs. The slightest movement gives the impression I'm engulfed in tongues of fire. I am not pretty. I'm not beautiful. I am as radiant as the sun. For a while, we all just stare at me. Oh, Senna, I finally whisper, thank you. Twirl for me, he says. I hold out my arms and spin in a circle. The prep team screams in admiration. Senna dismisses the team and has me move around in the dress and shoes, which are infinitely more manageable than Effie's. The dress hangs in such a way I don't have to lift the skirts when I walk, leaving me with one less thing to worry about. So, all ready for the interview then, asked Senna. I can see by his expression that he's been talking to Hamish, that he knows how dreadful I am. I'm awful. Hamish called me a dead slug. No matter what we tried, I couldn't do it. I just can't be one of those people he wants me to be, I say. Senna thinks about this a moment. Why don't you just be yourself? Myself? That's no good either. Hamish says I'm sullen and hostile, I say. Well, you are around Hamish, says Senna with a grin. I don't find you so. The prep team adores you. You even won over the game makers. And as for the citizens of the Capitol, well, they can't stop talking about you. No one can help but admire your spirit. A spirit? This is a new thought. I'm not exactly sure what it means, but it suggests I'm a fighter. In sort of a brave way. It's not as if I'm never friendly. Okay, maybe I don't go around loving everybody I meet. Maybe my smiles are hard to come by, but I do care for some people. Senna takes my icy hands in his warm ones. Suppose when you answer the question, you think you're addressing a friend back home. Who would your best friend be? Asked Senna. Gail, I said instantly, only it doesn't make sense, Senna. I would never be telling Gail those things about me. He already knows them. What about me? Could you think of me as a friend? Asked Senna. Of all the people I've met since I left home, Senna is by far my favorite. I liked him right off, and he hasn't disappointed me yet. I think so, but I'll be sitting on the main platform with the other stylists. You'll be able to look right at me. When you're asked the question, find me and answer it as honestly as Senna. Even with what I think is horrible, I ask, because it might be really, especially if you think it's horrible, says Senna. You'll try it. I nod. It's a plan, or at least a straw to grasp at. Too soon, it's time to go. The interviews take place on the stage constructed in front of the training center. Once I leave my room, it will be only minutes until I'm in front of the crowd. The cameras all up in him. As Senna turns the doorknob, I stop his hand. Senna, I'm completely overcome with stage fright. Remember, they already love you, he says gently. Just be yourself. We meet up with the rest of the District 12 crowd at the elevator. Porsche and her gang have been hard at work. Peter looks striking in a black suit with flames accents. While we look well together, it's a relief not to be dressed identically. Haymitch and Effie are all fancied up for the occasion. I avoid Haymitch, but accept Effie's compliments. Effie can be tiresome and clueless, but she's not destructive like Haymitch. When the elevators open, the other tributes are being lined up to take the stage. All 24 of us sit in a big arc throughout the interview. I'll be last, or second to last, since the girl tribute precedes the boy from each district. How I wish I could be first and get the whole thing out of the way now. Now I'll have to listen to how witty, funny, humble, fierce, and charming everybody else is before I go up. Plus, the audience will start to get bored, just as the game makers did. And I can't exactly shoot an arrow into the crowd to get their attention. Right before we parade onto the stage, Haymitch comes up behind PETA and me and growls, remember, you're still a happy pair, so act like it. What? I thought we abandoned that when PETA asked for separate coaching, but I guess that was a private, not a public thing. Anyway, there's not much chance for interaction now as we walk single file to our seats and take our place. Just stepping on stage makes my breathing rapid and shallow. I can feel my pulse pounding in my temples. It's a relief to get to my chair because when the heels and my legs shaking, I'm afraid I'll trip. Although evening is falling, the city circle is brighter than a summer's day. An elevated seat unit has been set up for prestigious guests, with the stylist commanding the front row. The cameras will turn to them when the crowd is reacting to their handiwork. A large balcony off a building to the right has been reserved for the game makers. Television crews have claimed most of the other balconies, but the city circle and the avenues that feed into it are completely packed with people. Standing room only. At home and community halls around the country, every television set is turned on. Every citizen of Panem is tuned in. There will be no blackouts tonight. Caesar Flickerman, a man who has hosted the interviews for more than 40 years, bounces onto the stage. It's a little scary because his appearance has been virtually unchanged since all that time. Same face under a coating of pure white makeup, same hairstyle that he's dyed a different color for each Hunger Games, same ceremonial suit. So how about that training score? 11. Give us a hint what happened in there. I glance at the all I think it was a first. The cameras are right on the game makers who are chuckling and nodding. You're killing us, says Caesar, as if in actual pain. Details. I address the balcony. I'm not supposed to talk about it, right? The game makers who fell in the punch bowl shouts out, she's not. Thank you, I say. Sorry, my lips are sealed. Let's go back then to the moment they called your sister's name at the reaping, says Caesar. His mood is quieter now. And you volunteered. Can you tell us about her? No, not all of you. But maybe Senna. I don't think I'm imagining the sadness in his face. Her name is Prim. She's just 12, and I love her more than anything. You could hear a pin drop in the city circle now. What did she say to you after the reaping? Caesar asked. Be honest, I swallowed hard. She asked me to try really hard to win. The audience is frozen, hanging on my every word. And what did you say? Prompts Caesar gently. But instead of warmth, I feel an icy rigidity take over my body. My muscles tense as if they do before a kill. When I speak, my voice seems to have dropped an octave. I swore I would. I bet you did, said Caesar, giving me a squeeze. The buzzer goes off. Sorry, we're out of time. Best of luck, Katniss Everdeen. Tribute from District 12. The applause continues long after I'm seated. I look to Sienna for reassurance. He gives me a subtle thumbs up. I'm still in a daze for the first part of Peter's interview. He has the audience from the get-go, though. I can hear them laughing, shouting out. He plays up the baker's son thing, comparing the tributes to the bread from their district, then has a funny anecdote about the pearls from the Capitol showers. Tell me, do I still smell like roses? He asked Caesar. And then there's a whole run where they take turns sniffing each other that brings down the house. I'm coming back into focus when Caesar asks him if he has a girlfriend back home. Peter hesitates, then gives an unconvincing shake of his head. Handsome lad like you, there must be some special girl. Come on, what's her name, says Caesar. Peta sighs. Well, there is this one girl. I've had a crush on her ever since I can remember, and I'm pretty sure she didn't know I was alive until the reaping. Sounds of sympathy from the crowd, unrequited love they can relate to. She have another fellow? Asked Caesar. I don't know, but a lot of boys like her, says Peta. So here's what you do. You win, you go home. She can't turn you down then, hey? Says Caesar encouragingly. I don't think it's going to work out. Winning won't help in my case, says Peta. Why ever not, says Caesar mystified. Peta blushes, beet red, and stammers out, because she came here with me. Peta's got a crush on Katniss. Love it. All right. So did Katniss do a really good job at her interview? Was she super nervous, but did she do a good job? What do you all think? Yeah, you think so? Yeah, she definitely did a great job. So you all understand that you need to do your chapter summary, correct? And you all realize that these have to be 5 sentences. Now, do you all need me to go over the character bonus card for today?
Yes, please.
Yes, are you all? Yes? Okay. Who's got their, whoever has the speaker on, turn your mic off. Okay. So you have a choice. There is a female card. There's also a male card, and then there's a blank card where you can draw your own character. You are putting yourself in the Hunger Games, all right? You are each on a team right now. So you are going to add your name here, and then the district that you're in. You all are all in districts in the contest, right? So you have the district right here. Then maybe list, 2 or 3 strengths that you have, 2 or 3 weaknesses, and then would give you. Then you're going to decorate, okay? Use IBIS or whatever you all like to use. If you have a printer, print this out, and then you can color over it. Decorate your character to look like you, what you would look like, in the Hunger Games. And then down here, the tribute quote, the whole country, one thing, what would your quote be? A quote would be like, don't count me out, I'm ready to go. Like, what would be your quote that would represent who you are? Okay, but you only have to do one. You choose the girl, you choose the male, or there's also a blank one. If you like to draw, this is a chance for me to see some of your drawing skills. So you have this blank one also. Are there any questions about that? You think you understand that a little better now? How we feeling? We feeling okay with it?
Yeah.
Okay, if y'all have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask. So again, just a couple strengths, maybe 3, at least maybe 3 or 4, whatever you can fit on the line, 3 or 4 weaknesses that you might have, your score, and then just what would your famous quote be? And then kind of decorate. You can put a dress on her and on the, a lot of kids last year put like cargo pants and camo stuff and like they were ready to go into the games. But I would, if you can draw, I'd love to see your talent right here. If you chose the blank one, I would love to see that. So does anybody have any questions about this week at all? There's no conference tomorrow. Okay. There's no conference, and you need to read chapter 10 on your own, right? Mm-hmm. So there's actually nothing to turn in tomorrow. You just need to read. And then today you need to take your weekly quiz, turn in your chapter summary, and do your character card. And if you still need to work till tomorrow to turn in your character card, that's fine. Just make sure everything's turned in for this whole week by tomorrow, as far as like makeup day. Okay? Mm-hmm. Are there any questions, y'all guys? Again, this is another nice turnout. You all are doing a really good job logging in. Sarah, if you have a printer, you can print it out. If you don't have a printer, I can print it out and leave it in the office. I don't mind printing things out at all if you need it. Did anybody have any questions about the poem? A lot of people did not turn in their poem yesterday. Right here, I only have one crocodile. Did I say printer? Did I say printer? Come on, man. A printer? I will enunciate. I'll be Katniss Everdeen on the stage. Printer.
Well, right now I'm at my mom's work and I have a printer, so I can just have her print out things.
That would be awesome. All right, so whatever you all need to do is perfect. And then you can just take a picture of it and turn it in.
Okay.
Yes, Miss Anna, a printer.
Tomorrow
you
after
need to do that, you're more than welcome to. You're more than welcome to ask if somebody can pick it up. I can do that.
tomorrow after reading the chapter, do we only have